Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up the USA voice. Nancy Pelosi honors those lost to AIDS at the DC Gay Men's Chorus WorldPride concert. During WorldPride, the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, D.C., in partnership with St. Thomas's Parish and the National AIDS Memorial, unveiled a deeply personal display of the AIDS Memorial Quilt. This exhibit includes panels honoring chorus members who died during the height of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s and 90s. These were not just names on a cloth. Many of the quilt panels were sewn decades ago by grieving loved ones. One of them, the first ever made by and for the chorus members, held a special significance. The idea for the exhibit was sparked earlier this year after the chorus members spoke to a high school class reading Angels in America. The students had no real sense of the fear and loss that marked that era. The conversation turned into a mission. Chorus members spent months digging through the National AIDS Memorial Archives, confirming 33 individual panels honoring their own. Some names they remembered personally. Friday night's opening of this historic initiative drew a very special guest. House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. She praised the quilt's unifying power and the queer community's role in demanding change. Pelosi told the crowd, quote, "When I made my first speech in Congress about HIV/AIDS, people said, 'Why would you talk about that? Why would you lead with that?' I said, 'Because that's why I came here. I came here to fight.' But the real miracle was the outside mobilization of the LGBTQ plus community who refused to be silent. That's what made the difference. That's what changed the world," end quote. The exhibit was open through Sunday. You know, as someone living with HIV, this exhibit is more than just a tribute. It's a mirror reflecting the resilience, love, and loss that shaped our community. The AIDS Memorial Quilt is not just fabric, it's a living archive of voices that refuse to be forgotten. And it's just so important because we keep talking about our stories and our history, and you know that we need to continue to bring that forward.
Yeah, you know, and the Gay Men's Chorus didn't just like remember these 33 choir members that they lost. They brought it to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what about. A quilt's just a quilt without the stories behind it.
And we've been telling these stories since it began. You know, with San Francisco, the Gay Men's Chorus out there in 1981, I think was the first one that came out of this from the AIDS epidemic. And it was our way of giving a voice to people's silence, you know, about this. So, and then you saw it in New York and all these different chapters. And in fact, South Florida, we've had LGBTQ plus choruses since the 80s itself. Our organization has been in operation for 15 years. So we don't have direct, you know, people that might have been so, you know, affected.
Yeah.
But, you know, through the history, you know, and we're blessed to still have Dr. Gary Keating here in the community too, who started the gay choral movement back in the 80s too. So he would tell me about people that have passed, and we still honor our members that do pass, you know, with like a memorial that we create ourselves. So, you know, these quilts and these type of things, this is where we feel like our voices can be lended in these type of things. So, you know, it's been a privilege, you know, to tell these stories.
And the AIDS quilt, of course, now, I think the last time it was shown in full was 96. I saw it in 1993. Yes, bitches, I'm that old. I was at the March on Washington, the LGBTQ, I think we called it Gay Lesbian March. I don't know what we called it. The March, I think we just called it the March on Washington in 1993. About 1 million of us were there. And
Amazing.
But the quilt was shown in its entirety on the Grand Lawn. And it was a life-altering experience to be there, to see it, to just because, you know, there's, it wasn't the party atmosphere, even for the parade in 93. It was very much a protest. And then, of course, then going to the quilt was a totally sacred, somber experience. It was like it was silent. And it was filled with people looking and reading, and it was quiet because everybody was respecting the awesomeness of it all. So anyway, I just got kind of lost in my own moment there.
But I could only imagine.
But so now, of course, to find 33 specific panels, I mean, that requires some major research, number one. And how beautiful to bring that to life.
I love it. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.